Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the very talented, very funny Mr. Paul Merrill. Are they gone? Oh my God, aren't they weird? Oh, hi guys, how are you doing? Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I had a really rough day. I had my first prostate exam. It's just weird because one, I'm only 36 years old, and they usually don't do these until you're 50. And two, I was at the dentist. I suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder, but luckily it's balanced out by a healthy dose of depression. So like I really want to flick this switch on and off exactly 777 times in a row. But then I think, what's the point? I like watching the History Channel. I especially like Civil War reenactments. Have you seen these on here before? People dress up in authentic Civil War uniforms and recreate the Civil War, the most bloody, brutal, most shameful period in this country's history. And these fuckers recreate it every year. Hooray for the Civil War! Do people in other countries do this? Do people in other countries try to recreate the worst moments in their history? Do they have a potato famine festival in Ireland? In Germany, do they have death camp days? Wanted 6 million Jews for historical recreation. No fatties. You're gonna have a hard time believing this, but I have not always been the badass motherfucker you see before you. There was a time when I was young that I was a little bit nerdy, a little bit pudgy, and balding, strangely enough. Totally different than today. And yet, I was obsessed with Kung Fu. I used to watch Kung Fu movies on TV every weekend, and I was obsessed with doing this. I saw these movies and I said, this is what I want to do with my life. So I went and I asked my dad, and I said, Dad, please, I want to learn Kung Fu. And I was 8 years old. I said, please, I want to learn Kung Fu. And my dad, bless him, he wasn't really good with stuff. So he signed me up for the first Asian-sounding class he could find in the community college nearby our house. And he signed me up for something called jiu-jitsu. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with jiu-jitsu, but it's the ancient martial art of eye gouging and testicle crushing. And it's usually taught in self-defense classes to elderly women who don't want to be raped. Which is exactly what my dad signed me up for. So here I am, 8-year-old Paul. I show up to my first class in my Hong Kong Phooey pajamas, surrounded by old women clutching their rape whistles. And the instructor walks in, and he's this kind of big, fat, dumpy white guy. He looks like the guy that Bruce Lee beats up in the movies. And he comes in, and he looks right at me, and he says, "What are you gonna do if someone comes up behind you and grabs your breasts?" I was 8 years old. I was like, I don't know, it's wrong. You're gonna reach between your legs and crush my testicles with your bare hands. So I ran as fast as I could out of the community center and never came back to jiu-jitsu. But a couple years later, when I was about 10 years old, I was playing G.I. Joes with my best friend Howie. And we were playing along, and he had my favorite G.I. Joe character, the Cobra Commander. He had it, and I said, Howie, can you give that back? That's my favorite guy. That's the Cobra Commander. And he said, no, I found it first. And somewhere in my little 8-year-old mind, something snapped. Experts call it the fight or flight mechanism. And suddenly, somewhere, my jiu-jitsu training kicked in. And I reached over to crush Howie's testicles. But the problem is, I'm not really that aggressive of a guy. So I just sort of gently placed my hand on Howie's lap and just left it there. And we shared a long, awkward pause until he burst out crying and screaming, bad touch, and ran out. And I said, it's called jiu-jitsu. Thank you so much. I'm Paul Merrill. You can find me on MySpace and other teen hangouts. Thank you so much.